You're listening to the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Mike Green. Today we're spotlighting an activity for all ages. It's been taking the nation by storm. It's called pickleball. It's currently one of the fastest growing sports in North America. Think about a mashup of tennis and ping pong. Well, that's pickleball. Smaller outdoor courts, small paddles, and a wiffle ball. Pickleball brings together people of all ages for physical exercise, skill building, and socializing. In Medford, the popularity of pickleball has culminated in a public-private partnership that produced a massive pickleball facility. Joining the exchange to help us learn more is Rich Rosenthal, the director of Medford Parks and Recreation Facilities. Welcome to the exchange, Rich.
Thanks, Mike. Great to be here.
Well, Medford's new pickleball complex opened last week during the Southern Oregon Pickleball Association's spring tournament. How'd that go?
Well, hey, the tournament went great because, first of all, people were so excited to be playing at a brand new facility and, dedicated pickleball courts. And so I'd have to say that when pickleball players are happy, it's good for everybody.
Okay, well, the facility is considered the largest municipal pickleball complex in Oregon. Tell me what sets this facility apart from others in the region.
Well, pickleball has grown so rapidly over the past 10 or 15 years. The demand has pressured communities or organizations to see more facilities built to support the demand, supply and demand.
Okay.
So there are more pickleball players than ever before. And, going from striping lines on tennis courts that have been around for 40 or 50 years was sort of the first step.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you are a dedicated pickleball player and you want the highest quality of experience, you really want to have what's called a dedicated court where all it is are the pickleball lines. And you're not sharing with basketball. You're not sharing with tennis. There's no line confusion. That's the best experience. And also they have a nice flat court surface, just like a tennis court would be, and for it to be striped like a tennis court. So those are all the ingredients for a great experience. And that's what was built in Medford. It's a dedicated pickleball facility. There are 19 pickleball courts, not sharing with any other sport.
19 pickleball courts. And I understand they're lighted?
They are lighted. Hey, if you're going to build a dedicated pickleball facility and you want to do it the right way, you need to put lights in.
Okay, so people are playing well into the evening.
Yes, up until 9 o'clock in this case, as it is in a residential area, the Howard Memorial Sports Park. So, yes, the pickleball advocates and our partners in this say, hey, if we're going to raise the money, let's do it the right way the first time and not continually have to be chasing and continually fundraising to install the things for it to be right.
Okay, so people can play pickleball at this complex from what time to what time?
8 a.m. until 9 p.m.
Okay, and 9 p.m. is the cutoff because?
It's the curfew. Like I mentioned before, it's, the park is there. It's a sports park. Mm-hmm. However, it's near residential homes, and we need to be good neighbors.
Gotcha. Okay, so tell me more about this sports park.
Howard Memorial Sports Park is where Wes Howard used to live on this property. It's 58 acres. It's in northwest Medford on the corner of Ross and Ross Anley. Ross Anley is also Highway 238. And so Wes Howard was a reclusive gentleman who passed away in 2003. Unbeknownst to just about everyone, he was a millionaire. Even though he lived in a shack on this property, he had resources that he had saved. He lived very frugally. Mm-hmm. And so in his will, he wanted his property and his assets to go to the benefit of children and families of Medford. And so his friend John Schleining executed his will and for 20 years tried to build a sports park there. And on the private side, it's very difficult to build. These are multi-million-dollar facilities that we're talking about. Eventually, he came to the city of Medford to partner. The city had, a mutual interest in the property because it needs parkland to build recreational facilities, such as pickleball courts, such as a swimming pool, such as indoor sport courts.
Well, that's Rogue X.
Right. And so that's where the partnership really started on this property,
Okay.
with the city's involvement. And the pickleball courts are something that in the city's strategic plan that was just updated, the number one facility need identified based on community impact, take a wild guess, more pickleball courts, dedicated pickleball courts. And so that's how it happened at that location.
Okay, so the Rogue X complex is a lot of basketball courts and swimming facilities. I think you have a Olympic-sized swimming pool there.
Well, the Rogue Credit Union Community Complex, otherwise known as the Rogue X, was built by the city of Medford on West Howard Memorial Sports Park, which is still privately owned by the foundation. There's a board, so it's still privately owned, but the city leased it and built the Rogue X, which contains the 75,000 square foot event center with the 8 full-size basketball courts and then 2 indoor swimming pools. The competitive pool isn't quite Olympic size. It is a little beyond the economic means of the city at the time, but it's 13 lanes, which is large enough to support the needs of the community right now and into the future.
Okay, so you have basketball tournaments and people come from all over to participate in those basketball tournaments. You have swim meets and they're coming from all over. And now you're going to have pickleball courts and people will come from all over to participate in pickleball tournaments.
Well, that's the hope. No, these facilities are built for 2 purposes. One is to address community demand, what the needs and wants and wishes are of those who are already living here. And the second purpose is for it to be an economic stimulus for the community. It's the economic impact, the fact that people are coming to the facility to compete in whatever sport or activity it is. They're staying in hotels. They're stimulating local business. And so it's good for everybody.
My guest is Rich Rosenthal. He's the director of Medford's Parks and Recreation Facilities. We're talking about Medford's new $2 million pickleball complex, which is the largest municipal pickleball facility in the state. Now, Rich, can you tell me about this public-private partnership that ultimately produced this $2 million investment?
Sure. A great collaboration, one of the most fun that I've been involved with in my 20 years with the city of Medford. There were a lot of people and organizations putting cookies in that cookie jar to make this happen. First of all, we talked about Howard Memorial Sports Park, and it's a separate, independent, nonprofit organization, separate from the city, but the city obviously has leased it and will own the property. So that is a built-in partnership in itself. But then the Southern Oregon Pickleball Association, which is has several hundred members in Southern Oregon. They were huge. Their president's Deanne Winter. They had a board, and so they were motivated. They helped fundraise, and they helped advocate.
I understand they raised $900,000.
Yes, they have a foundation. They have their own foundation, Southern Oregon Pickleball Foundation, led by Mark DeBoer and Brad Hicks, and they were instrumental in getting Lithia and Driveway to contribute $500,000 toward the project for facility naming rights for 30 years, but they front-loaded the payment for that so that the courts could be built as fast as they were. It was 246 days from groundbreaking to the ribbon cutting. And if it wasn't for the fundraising and for the city's in-kind contribution in terms of staff time, the park planner who designed the facility, and the Howard Memorial Sports Park Board had put in over $1 million toward this to help develop the property, which is the mission of what West Howard wanted to do, and plus the support from Outlier Construction and so many local companies. All of the construction was done by Rogue Valley companies, and I think some of them did it at cost, just as their in-kind contribution. Yeah. So it was a really great marriage of so many different stakeholders to make 19 courts happen. And I drove by yesterday morning about this time, and 12 of the 19 courts had people on them.
That is
They're
amazing.
drop-in, they're free, just like any facility in any city park that, come by. There's no admission charge, and it was a gorgeous morning, and it was just a great celebration of the sport and great atmosphere.
So it's a benefit to the community.
Right. No question about it. And, I've been asked whether it's a craze. Is pickleball a craze? It's not a craze. There's so many people playing, and it's not just one demographic. And there are younger players playing now, and so I think it's here to stay. It's here for the long run. There have been sports that have come and gone. Such a racquetball would be a great example. It's a great sport. It's fun, but it's a complicated facility to build, and it sort of had its peak, and there are fewer people playing it now. I think that pickleball, because it crosses generations and it's easy for people to play compared to tennis, and someone who's 7 can play with someone who's 77 so easily and seamlessly, that's why it's here to stay.
Okay, and I understand that there's more coming, like sand volleyball, and you mentioned a strategic plan. Tell me, what else is planned?
Well, at Howard Memorial Sports Park, 50 acres, about 12 of those acres are undeveloped. And so we're filling, the Rogex was the first thing. That took up 23 of the 58 acres. Logos Public Charter School is out there too, and they've expanded. They have a new facility. The pickleball courts obviously are there now, and next week the 4 sand volleyball courts will be open and ready for play just south of the pickleball. So you're going to have a lot of pickleball players and a lot of sand volleyball players in close proximity, which will be a fascinating mix of people to watch. Also on the property, there are plans for more ball fields, youth baseball and fast pitch fields, full-size baseball field. We need more parking. And also in the northeast corner where the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall was just opened on Memorial Day, there's a neighborhood park going in that area. So it's really like a blank canvas that the city and Howard Memorial Sports Park Incorporated had, and we're in the process of painting all the things, the fun toys and activities onto the canvas, and it'll be built out in a few years, but it's a fun project to work on.
Well, it sounds like a place for the whole family to come. Do you have enough parking?
Probably not, but parking's expensive to build, and so we built what was appropriate for the facilities, but we're going to build more because when there's something going on at the Rogex and people have been there, when it's like, it's packed and people are parking in a creatively, yeah, we need some more parking spaces. We know that, we hear that, and we're going to do it. It's just that it's expensive. Would you rather build the recreation facility, or do you just want a parking lot? So we've had to balance the two.
Gotcha. And speaking of balancing, you have tournaments that'll be played there. Now, how do you balance what's available to the community versus the scheduled tournaments?
Well, the thought with tournaments is that it's a benefit for local residents, not only the people in Medford, but the Rogue Valley, to have a regional caliber tournament or a national tournament come to Medford, because we have a facility large enough to do those things now that we've never been able to do in the past. That saves money. It saves time. So the people have access to the highest quality activity or competition level, and they get to sleep in their own bed at night. They don't have to drive very far. They don't have to fly. They don't have to buy hotel rooms. That saves people money. And that's one of the reasons why these facilities are built, and that you bring the best competition to where you are, and that's a benefit. And we've seen this really play out well with youth baseball and youth fast pitch. And the better facilities, the better competition you have, you notice that the players and the teams in your area get better and that they're really good. That's what's going to happen here.
Okay, well, we're running out of time, but really quickly, for those who haven't picked up a paddle yet, any introductory programs?
Parks and Recreation will be rolling out those programs and services in the coming months and years, believe me.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks, Rich.
You bet. Thank you.
My guest was Rich Rosenthal, Director of Medford's Parks and Recreation Facilities.